What's going on, everybody? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. Good morning. Great morning. What an extraordinary pleasure and grace to be here with you all. Looking forward to this session here. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to focus in on what is Bitcoin's next move, what's currently going on. We're going to do our best to bring clarity to make sure that we have that calmness to be able to go ahead and conquer this bull phase over here of the bull of all bulls. Thomas brought up that today the FOMC is meeting today at 2 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to take a look at the dollar, see how the dollar is reacting pre-FOMC today. You can see coming right up into Brad's trend line over here. I don't have Brad's chart with me here today, but this is the trend line in focus that we're watching. You can see right here. Maybe the market is worrying that Powell is going to say that, listen, we have to start tightening. I can't imagine Powell not doing what he does best, and that is be the uber dove. Let's see what happens over there. Let's watch how the dollar reacts this morning. And interesting that as we're at this interesting junction today, as the FOMC meets, the dollar's at an interesting level too. It could break out over here. If it breaks out over here, we're going to be looking to test that trend line over here, this channel. I'm not going to focus in on what that is unless we break out. If we break out, then I'll be looking at what we're targeting next, whether or not it's the channel breakout showing you why it's there. That was the first Monday after the New Year video in the afternoon that I put out over here, giving you this overview of the DXY and the dollar, where we're coming up higher into stronger resistance around 92.30. We'll look at those levels if we need be, but right now we're into resistance. Let's see what happens today. Normally the market settles in sometime around 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time on an FOMC day and then goes into wait and see mode. Let's see what happens. You can see the equity markets are down today too, down pretty strongly, right? Off from that resistance though. We were tracking this resistance here, tracking it, and we just have been rejected by it, back towards the lower end of the chute over here. There's some support over here. Nothing's happening right now. Well, a lot's happening. Equities look super uber bullish. Nothing's happening to get us concerned yet, looking for that correction. Eventually, at some point in 2021, we would like to see that correction, like a 9% at least drawdown on the S&P 500 to get into the equity markets. You can see the Nasdaq, though, into this trend line support right here, right? This was the resistance, broke out. No, that's not like a melt up in your face, take profit. That was just testing that broken resistance, and so far it's been holding at support. Let's see, but again, uber bullish all around. No reason to be calling tops or even looking for them at this stage in the game. Thomas, thanks for that heads up. I wasn't even focused on the fact that today was FOMC. Obviously, it's not a live meeting, but nevertheless, very important to keep tracking. Let's focus in on look on what's going on Bitcoin over here so that everyone has the perfect read. It's important right now as price has pulled back over here about 30% from the last all-time high. Right now, currently, we're 29% in a pullback. We pulled back as far as 31.3%, right? Always have that situational awareness. This is something that every single person that spends their time in this community was waiting for, aware of, and mentally prepared for. Because throughout this bull market phase, everyone is prepared for at least a 30% drawdown over there. And not only that, to act. We're going to talk about that in the future, about how to act on that, when to act, what to act in different scenarios, but not right now. First, we're going to look at what's happening. We've been looking at this as it's been unfolding. This is the trend line that matters. Once this trend line breaks out to the upside, next leg is in place, and we're going to be looking at taking out the all-time high. And then once we take out the all-time high, into price discovery, probably at least towards $70,000 on Bitcoin. Could it go higher? Of course. We'll see what happens. Am I calling a pullback from 70,000? No. We'll watch what happens and see what happens. What about what's happening right now? Caleb this morning in the Conquering the Markets Discord put out an interesting chart. I think he's the one that brought it to my attention just a week ago. We're going to look at that in 1 second. We've been looking at whether or not we're watching this triangle pattern, right? Whether we're watching this wedge pattern, right? Or if we're watching this bull flag, this organized channel happening over here. It doesn't matter which one it is. All that matters is the trend line over here because the breakout sets off the next phase. But let's dig a little deeper over here. This is an important trend line. We all know what's happening over here. We all have that Zen-like awareness over here. Look, we pointed out over here as we were just this far in. I made a box over here a little bit higher. I made a box over here. I said if we fall down into there, that's a place to pick up. If you picked up over there, you've accumulated right where we are right now, which is at the low, 30% off. Who's better than you? Could you have further drawdown? Yeah, we've looked at the fact. Look, it's important everyone has that awareness. We said, look, it's possible that we come back down, 38% into 26,000? Yeah, it's possible. Am I calling for that to happen? No. I didn't even call for this. I didn't call for this drawdown to happen here. The only time I called for a drawdown, a pullback to occur, was into 19,000. And it was only 16.5 instead of 30. After it recovered, I said, you know what? All bets are off. Risk is to the upside. Make sure you're fully positioned. I'm fully positioned and more. Boom. And then I said my eyes are on 40,000. Here we are at 40,000. At 40,000, I wasn't like we're going to have a pullback. I'm not even trying to look for pullbacks at all. I'm ready for them. And when they occur, I'm ready to act. How do you act? We'll talk about that in a little bit. First, I want to find out what else is going on over here because this triangle, if this is a triangle that's developed over here, right? And if we break down over here, what's next? Here's what I want to focus on before I go into the other scenarios, like the bull flag, the downward sloping channel that's also developing over here. Come over here, look at this chart over here. By the way, people are asking, are the 4 billion in options that are ready to expire something that I'm concerned about? It doesn't even play into my analysis at all. There are a lot of things that don't play into my analysis. I keep it simple. It's very pure. It's based off price alone, right? With the market structure of support and resistance, with the help of trend lines and chart patterns. It's absolutely the best way to slay the market. It's what I do. I don't consult fibs. I don't consult moving averages. Could you? Sure. Is it as effective of what we do here? Has anyone been nearly as accurate on calling the movements here, the waves that we've seen on Bitcoin for the past year? No, this is what we do. I'm not worried about this at all. If you want to read headlines, it's just noise. I try to block out all noise. This is not something, whether it's favorable for the bulls or not, or what it's going to cause. I have no idea. It's not important. This is Caleb over here. Look over here at this chart he shared this morning. It's what we're looking at. That's the trend line that we're looking at. This green line is this line over here that I've drawn in over here. And what he's saying is he's looked at past cycles. I think Caleb is the one who said that. I know Caleb is saying this morning he's looked at past cycles. I think he's the one who brought it to my attention just a week ago. And last cycle, which we're going to look at right over here right now, you had when this same pattern at the same time in this cycle formed, we saw a breakdown over here. And it was a bear trap, right? It broke down. Bears thought, oh, this is breaking my way. That lasted very quickly. It was bought up and then boom, we went on the next level. Let me show you where that happened, right? First of all, what you're looking at here is 2017 halving event. You're looking at the bull market over here. By the way, just let me check in really quick because I'm not following the comments. I want to make sure that we have audio over here because we're letting it flow over here. We're in the zone. We got to flow. We only have 259 likes this morning. How many people do we have? 200 people in here? 1,400 people. Let's get the likes going here this morning. If you're happy to be here, if you like what's being shared, if you appreciate the time that's being shared with you and together with everyone, go ahead and smash that like button. Let's get going over here. All right. Boom, 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 boom. Here we are. So this is what you're looking at, the last halving over here in blue, and then you're looking at the bull market phase over here. I want you to focus in on right over here. First, let me give you that awareness. This line over here, this is that 2017 bull run cycle you're looking at. That's the halving. This is where you're focused on right over here. This is where you're focused on. And look what happens off there. Okay? So let me bring you back so you can see that. It's this one right over here. It's this one right over here. I'm going to zoom in for a minute. Right? This is the one. And I'm going to go ahead and make this easier on your eyes. I'm going to remove this. and I'm going to remove that. Those, by the way, those are showing me how far the drawdown was. This was a 30% drawdown over here. We made a higher high and then had a 39% drawdown right after. That was the biggest drawdown of the bull cycle over here. That's right here. From here, here we go. From here to here, that was a 39% drawdown. The biggest drawdown of this bull market phase over here. We had several 30% drawdowns. That was the 39% drawdown. That's where we are right now. So when you see over here that I'm tracking and I'm showing you what a 38% drawdown into 2600 would look like, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying be prepared for it. It would just be prepared for it. That way, if it's happening, you're not like a deer in headlights. You've already expected it to happen. Nevertheless, here's what's happening over here. Here's the trend line. There's that trend line that we're following right now. And here's that triangle that I'm pointing out to you that's happening in real time. It's the same exact thing right over here. Not only the same exact thing, it's the same exact thing occurring at the same point at the cycle, right? This is exactly where we are. We're right here right now. Just extend this blue line. This is the current cycle. Blend that blue line into 30,000 right over here. And it's occurring at the same exact time. All right. So not that history repeats itself, but it sure does often rhyme. We broke down out of there. We broke down to the downside over there, and that was a bear trap. Look how quickly it was brought up over here. It took what, 3 days to recover to the all-time high? It took less than 3 days to recover, to test that swing high. It pulled back for the retest, resumed off, and then forget about it. It flew. Okay, so by the way, you also had in this same exact scenario that also looked like a bull flag, that also looked like what we're seeing right now, that downward sloping channel. I want to just come over to here to real time with you, just show you what that looks like. Let me clean that up for you. And we've been tracking this for about a week now. This is not new to us. This is something we have been tracking. We've been watching that downward sloping channel, that bull flag. And I've been saying to you before, as we were into that resistance just on Monday, I was saying to you, all right, well, yeah, that's nice to see Bitcoin challenging $34,000, $35,000 again, but we're just into resistance, right? Until we break out, we're not clear, and we were rejected so far by that resistance. You want to have that awareness. If you get a spike down into this area, you're a buyer, in my opinion. You're a buyer, in my opinion. So that's what we're looking at Bitcoin, and that deserves a like. That deserves not only a like, I wish you guys could smash the like button 2 times because that's what it deserves. But that's what we do here. That's what we do here. We make sure that we have that awareness of what's going on, keep ourselves on the right side of the market, work together to make sure that we're able to go ahead and thrive during this Bitcoin bull market. There's no sensationalism over here. It's just really clarity, and that's what we're good at, and that's what we do together over here. Let's keep going over here. By the way, this is a chart showing, we're looking at the past cycles. In purple is the first cycle. This cycle right now, the yellow one is an average of the second cycle down here in green, and the purple cycle. And this blue one is the current cycle we're in right now. So that you see that we're outperforming the last cycle by a heavy margin, and we're underperforming the first cycle. And by the way, this cycle more resembles the first cycle in the fact that the Fed has a very easy monetary policy going on right now. That's why you're seeing Bitcoin doing what it's doing, being Bitcoin. What I wanted to bring, so this is the first cycle. We had about the equivalent of 100,000 happening first in that first wave of double wave. But over here in April, we hit 100,000 again. That was September in the second cycle. Being that we're kind of between the two right now, you can see this is an average of the two. That's where we are right now, right around it, a little underperforming it, but right around it. That would say to us that it looks like sometime by June, rough math, we should be around $100,000. That's good situational awareness. We'll keep tracking it. All right? Just keep tracking where we are right now. It's still so early. We're 50 days into this bull market run since we took out the last all-time high. Generally, these have lasted to the peak 290-something days. You could see it in the first cycle. You could see it in the second cycle. It's so early, it's ridiculous. And that brings me back to, what do you do here right now? I would never tell anyone ever to take out a loan against their Bitcoin unless if you're asking, you shouldn't do it. right? There's no way that you should do that if you're asking the question. If you're asking the question, you should be doing as much research as possible, informing yourself until you either know it's not something for you or if it's something that you want to do. I just want to talk about something that I would consider doing. And if I say I would consider doing it, that does not mean that you should do it. Should you perhaps consider it? Yeah, then weigh out all weigh out the risks, understand what you're doing and why. I took out a couple of loans against my Bitcoin position on BlockFi. By the way, there's a link below in the description below for BlockFi. It's the only exchange I've used to purchase Bitcoin over the last 7-8 months or so. Nevertheless, around 13,000, I took out a loan and purchased more Bitcoin, right? I did that again at around 18, 19,000, right? So now we're over here. We have a 30% pullback. Is it time to go ahead and do that? I just want to show you something really quick, some thoughts that go through my mind. First of all, I don't know that I want to take out another loan against any of my holdings. I don't need to. Nevertheless, there's opportunity here. There's huge opportunity. And what is that opportunity? Well, look where we are, right? We're just getting started over here. I've been laying this case out for how long, right? So it's not like it's something new. I'm not jumping on the bet. But anyway, do you take out the loan now? Do you take out the loan now, or do you wait here for us to take out the all-time high of 42,000? By the way, that's about a loan over here, about 25% more of your collateral you have available to you than you do now. Here it's safer in that you could expect, yeah, could we have another 10% drawdown from here? Sure, that's possible. Maybe it'll happen, right? But generally speaking, during these bull market phases, once you take out that all-time swing high, that's when price discovery starts. That's when you get going. By the way, look back what happened over here. This is in the 2017 similar area on chain. What happened is we came in and we tested that last high, backed off a little bit, right? Came back into that newly formed local support. You could see it over there clearly, resumed off of it, and that's when you went off to the races. All right. So what else? Let's keep going over here. I wanted to focus. If you look at this chart, it's really deceiving. It's really deceiving. This chart is a little bit easier to help you realize how much further you have to go over here. It was brought up. This is in Discord over here. Everyone wanted to say hello and check in. Listen, I haven't been active on Discord. I want to tell you why. I feel extremely well positioned, and because of Jordan and many of you also. I do watch and listen to daily videos almost always, which keeps me feeling pretty cozy and straightforward, having that awareness. The really awesome thing about this for me personally is that it's enabled me to spend more time on other matters of spiritual and personal nature, which is a healthy change. I'm well positioned financially. I could work on my spiritual self. There have been many who have been very helpful, not only Brandon and Heath, Gene, Alan, the list goes on and on. This community is absolutely amazing. Listen, I understand. I'm completely in agreement with you. I've listened to all of Jordan's videos, but I spend more time in other matters of a more spiritual and personal nature, like reading my Bible and prayer. CTM is amazing. God bless everybody. This morning it was asked. I don't spend any time ever talking about it in any of our live streams. If any of you want to talk about it in the comments, that's great and that's fine. I'm more focused on what's going on in the markets. Listen, Jordan, I love your content. I love your channel. I follow daily on YouTube for the last few months. I'm very interested in joining your Discord, and I figure the best way to do that is to join your Conquering the Markets course from the website. But I just wanted to double check. That's the only way. That's how you plug into the Discord. That's how you plug into the Conquering the Markets community. Those that have gone ahead and made that investment in themselves. The course cost next to nothing. Is absolutely invaluable. No matter what your level is. It's over there on the website. The link is below in the description below. What else? I wanted to move over to here. And again, I don't do it. It's not what I'm here for. I'm not, but it's available and it's a resource. And Kips is saying, listen, open your Bible and pray for Bitcoin. Listen, it's not something that needs to be done, first of all, right? I guess that's in jest, right? Because no one would ever say pray for your position. That's absolutely, this is math. This is calculated. It's all calculated risk for calculated returns. Kips has been here long enough to know what we've done, how long we've been talking about what was going to happen, and how accurate it has been. So it's a little bit of a bad play, a little bit of a bad poke to be like, pray for your Bitcoin position, because that's just discounting all the work that I've shared with you for so long. So I'm just going to let that go, but that's not cool. Yeah. So anyway, Over here, what are we looking at? We're saying, Jordan, I have a couple of questions over here. How long do consolidation periods last during these bull market, bull phases? We looked at over here. Let me go ahead and just clean up that chart and put back in my drawdowns over here. And the question is look, we've been pulling back here 30%, right? This is just a overview of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the last bull market phases. 30% plus drawdowns that we experienced. How long do they last? That's what I would like to know, right? Generally speaking, over here, right after the halving, they lasted a little longer. We had less. This period, this didn't resemble as much. We only had two 20% pullbacks and one 16.5. We're over here right now, and you can see the trajectory starts going steeper from here into the peak, right? Just let me go ahead and give you that perspective. Look over here. Look over here. That's where we're going to be entering soon, where price starts going steeper. And as that happens over here and over here, you'll see the drawdowns are less and or last less and less in amount of days. The one we're in right now, by the way, last time went from, let's call it the end of May until July. The fully recovered, right? The end of July. So May to July, 2 months. 2 months. 30 to 60 days is generally how long they could last. How long have we been pulling back right over here from the high? Let me go ahead and just move this over so I could get a little bit. We started in the beginning of January, so it's almost 30 days. It'll be 30 days next week. A lot of people this morning in Discord were just saying that they foresaw that perhaps around February 7th, 8th, I think the dates they're throwing out, maybe is when we'll break out over here and end this one. I don't know. Generally speaking, 30 to 60 days is how long these have lasted in the past. And we're about almost 30 days into this one. Good question, something that need to be shared. The other question, though, had to do with moving averages. If you put up a 21 EMA weekly, you'll see that in the past bull market, we pulled back multiple times into that 21 day weekly moving average. I don't do it. Like I said earlier, I focus on price. I focus on the market structure of support and resistance with the help of trend lines and chart patterns, right? That's what I do. It's the most effective way. Could you use fib levels? Could you use moving averages? Could you use oscillators? You could use almost anything you want. You could use it's the market and you have unlimited choices. Is it more effective to use a 21-day weekly EMA than it would be to use these 30% drawdowns? It's the same thing, different way to skin a cat, right? Is it more effective? Not in any way that I would say. Good question. I just try to keep it simple, and that's been a huge edge. Taking something, the markets are so complex, and being able to approach them from a simple style, that's the way you do it. So what else? So is it a bull trap or a flag, right? Well, so let's answer that question then. So we laid out over here what we're looking at, the possible scenario. That's the trend line. That's the only thing that matters. And I hope that's what you took from all of that. That's why it's the only thing on my chart. Keep it simple. Nevertheless, we have that awareness. If we break down over here, if it's going to be a bear trap. If we break down over here, you could call out of that triangle, we're going to call it a bear trap. That's probably going to be bought up relatively quickly. And then you're going to see us snap out of here to break the trend line. At the same time, is it a bull flag? Is it a channel? Yeah, it's the same exact thing. One way or the other, it's the same pattern. So either which way, it doesn't matter, and have that awareness. If we do break down, whether you're looking at breaking down from that triangle and you spike down, or if you come back, which is going to be into that support of the flag over here, that's where your eyes should be. If you, just like it was over here, if you get the opportunity, that's where you're looking to accumulate. The way that the human brain is wired, for whatever reason, this is where people wanted to buy. This is where people want to buy. As price is rising, remember we got on that morning? I was like, wow, yeah, we're into resistance. Great to see Bitcoin testing 34,000, but we're into resistance. We get excited when we break out above the trend line. Right? And the breakout, by the way, is not a given. Just because you break out of the trend line is not a given that the next leg is going to happen. You know, sometimes you have false breaks. We saw that on gold recently. We saw that very much on gold. Let's go ahead and look at it just so you understand and you're aware. That's why it's all about managing risk. Let's jump over here to gold over here. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. I've been able to readjust this trend line from these top 2 peaks, but I was focusing on something like this. It looked like this, exactly like that. I had that trend line. It's a good looking trend line, touching that point, again into there. Yeah, I like it. And you can see later down here, that's a valid trend line. We broke out of it, right? And it was a failed breakout. We came back down into the pattern. When we came back down, that's held as resistance, right? So it's not a given, but it's what you're looking for and what has to happen next. All right, so what else are we looking at, or else do I want to look at with you all today? We almost made it to 1,000 likes. Pretty cool this early in the session, but it's been a fantastic session. Last night's video was super. I really enjoyed producing that and sharing it with you all. This afternoon, there will be no afternoon update video. Unless something happens that I feel that I need to share with you. Tomorrow morning, we have our live stream, followed by, we're going to do, for our CTM members only live session, we're going to talk about Bitcoin lightly leveraged, because at the end of the day, the only trade that matters is Bitcoin, and the best trade, in my opinion, and I've been consistent on message about this since forever, is lightly leveraged, because lightly leveraged, it outperforms everything. By the way, this is so important over here. You see alt season, you know how much alts, by the way, outperform Bitcoin by, let's say, a factor of 6x, maybe 7x if I go to the peak over here. Let's go 10x. We're getting crazy. They outperform Bitcoin by a factor of 7 to 9x. This happened all in 30 days. This all happened within 30 days over here from the Bitcoin peak. Going into early December, Bitcoin peaked around December 6th, right? And then or 8th. And then over here, a total of 30 days over here was alt season, where the disconnect. Do you want to exit Bitcoin at its top and jump into alts and get really cute and try to squeeze out like, I'm going to leave that to Brandon and others. I don't need to be cute, it's great. That's the wrong phrase. If you could do that, if you have the ability and the awareness, which you should have the awareness, because I'm pointing out to you when it happens. And if you have the ability and the awareness to do that, well, I'll walk you through it as it happens. How about that? Keith, need some good karma, hence the donation. Right, thanks, brother. Grayscale, both Ethereum and Bitcoin is killing me. Buying Bitcoin and Ethereum dip hard. Whoa, Keith, just fall back. It's all good. Look at this is where we are. We're right over here. You're holding for the bull. You're holding for the duration of the bull market phase, right? Do you see how early it is? Which is the chart that shows you how early it is in such a clarity? Look over here. Keith, you're 50 days in. You got another 240 days of this bull market phase, approximately 240 days. That's our awareness of this monster crushing, Bitcoin eat everything. Don't worry. You're over positioned if you're worried about it. You're positioned in a little late if you're worried about it. Maybe you bought the top over here, right? Maybe you bought the top over here right after the new year before we started pulling back. Don't worry. I mean, listen, what is it going to be? Another 30 days until we take out that high maximum? I think that's where we're headed. You got to have that awareness. You have to understand the trade that you're in to be able to ride the bull. That's the thing. You have to have that clarity. That's why we do this every day together, to get ourselves, first of all, preparing for what was going to happen ahead of the halving. The halving causes this shock as the miners' rewards are cut in half for confirming the Bitcoin network. It's cut in half, and that causes a supply shock. That supply shock causes this bull market phase, which ends in absolute mania, and then therefore causes a huge bear market, right? Before you accumulate and do it all again. What else are we looking at over here? There's a couple other things. Salty people, salty people are like, man, how difficult it must be to go through life being salty. Man, what happened to someone to cause them to be that tainted? I can't figure it out. I don't know. I know for sure that I've been through in life probably more than anyone that I know. I'm not salty. Man, imagine being salty. What a terrible thing. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, let's go into look over here at CoinMarketCap. I want you to focus on this over here. You're seeing, by the way, Bitcoin over the last 7 days down 11-12%. You're seeing over here XRP continues to be under pressure throughout this bull mania, still trading at 25 cents. Everyone on this channel was warned about that consistently, way in advance. And the question remains right now, well, listen, is there going to be alt season when you have other projects out there who probably could come under the crosshairs of the SEC because that the way they went about raising money, it was just a security, right? So is that why we're seeing, by the way, is this the bull run of DeFi? Look at Uniswap over here, up 72% in the last week, up 9% in 24 hours. Look at Aave over here. Look at, what is it, Aave? I said it right. I pronounced it correctly in the video last night. I asked for help. Everyone's like, you got it, and now I can't do it. Over here, up 50%. This is DeFi right over here. DeFi lending on the Ethereum blockchain over here. Is this the run of DeFi? You're seeing DOT continuing to outperform, still up in the last week, right? So yeah, I agree. A lot of characters that were prominent in the last bull run of 2017 are being pushed by the side. The markets are doing what markets do, right? The strong survive, and you're seeing DeFi really rightfully so because DeFi can't come under the pressure of the SEC if it's decentralized, can it? Right? That's why Bitcoin is Bitcoin. That's why Libra hasn't been launched. Anyway, where are we right now? Let's take a look at FX, and not FX, but the markets a little bit. There's a couple of things I want to focus. I hope everyone has that really clarity right now here, as they should on Bitcoin. The most important time, you see as markets are humming up from 19 to 40,000. By the way, do you remember over here, early December, first week in December, before we broke out over here, we were having trouble for how long? For a month, breaking 19,000. I put out that tweet. My eyes are now on 40,000. And then boom. Did I get emotional as that was happening? No. It's still early. Okay. Bitcoin 40,000. Great. Nice to see. Perfectly on time. But so what? Right? Same thing at 100,000. Great. Another milestone, another checkbox. You know, when we exit the position, if we were successful, then we'll be happy. Then we'll celebrate, right? CTM, meetup. Yeah. But right now we're at work. Right? And right now, though, where I focus more on all with you is not as we're shooting the moon, but over here as we're pulling back. This is when everyone needs kind of just to have that strong awareness of what is happening so that they're able to go ahead and stay on and ride. So right now, I hope everyone after this session has that calmness to them, understand what could possibly happen. Could we go lower than 26, a 38% pullback? You know, why not? Do I think that we're going to come back down over here to 20,000? Where are CME gaps though, by the way? Let me just really quickly with all of you check out what's going on over here on the CME futures, just so I have an idea. Let me pull up the weekly chart with you. So my computer's thinking for a minute. As it's thinking, let me just take a moment here, see what's going on with a couple of your comments. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, Thomas, that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to go into that right from this over here. Here we got some gaps over here. Let's see what's going on. Let me zoom in. Do I ever remember when we had this gap over here? How clear I was that I don't think it will ever get filled. It's never gotten filled. Do you think that we're going to go ahead and crash down and fill that gap? Over here, what about this gap over here to 24,000? A lot of traders still looking for this gap to be filled. Do you think that it's going to be filled, right? How far of a pullback would it be if we went ahead and closed this gap right over here into 24.50? Let's take a look at that. That's my question I want to answer, because is it a possibility it could happen? Of course it's a possibility. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't think it's going to happen. Is it a possibility? Should you be prepared for it? Yep. Of course you should. 24.50. Let's take a look right over here. That would be a 42%, a 42% or so drawdown. Be prepared for it. It could happen. All right. What else? New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Thomas, you're all over it today. Thanks for the heads up on the FOMC. Thanks for the heads up on the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Look at this. This is on the 8-hour. Green lighting this yesterday as I was above this resistance. This was above, the price was above the resistance. Looked very nice. Look what happened over here as price comes in for the retest of that broken resistance to see if it's going to hold as support. Do you notice that price never then held and made the higher high than the previous price bar during that London session, giving me that entry signal, right? And so what does that mean? Stand aside. What happens now? Coming back down into this area of support. It's very clear support. Look at that resistance. Look here, it held as support. Again, here is support. Is that something you want to watch right now? Yes. Watch the dollar. We looked at the DXY this morning. We talked about it being right here, up, breaking above right now, above that resistance. Brad, I'll text you. I want to get that chart of the DXY, which is more accurate for those trend lines. It looks like we're breaking, but guess what? We don't know until the close today. We do have the FOMC today. We'll see what happens. Does the market know something that we don't know yet? What the FOMC is? Maybe the markets are manipulated. You understand the markets are manipulated, right? And you just got to make a living within that manipulation. That's what you do. So over here right now, you're seeing the DXY breaking out of that trend line. If that holds over here, we're going to be talking about our targets. Maybe I'll do an afternoon video update if that's important. I will do that. But right now on the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, you do have that high risk news event. If this holds over here today, right, and then coming into London tomorrow, this held and is resuming off, is that a place to get long on the New Zealand dollar, US dollar? Looks good to me. Looks good to me. Let me go ahead and just clean up that chart a little bit. I don't even know where we are. Australian dollar, US dollar. Let's check that. You could see that trend line on the DXY. You can see it also a trend line over here on the Australian dollar, US dollar being breached right now, right? Should you be looking for any US dollar setups right now? Right? We could go both ways right now. If we break on that trend line on the DXY, we're expecting a little bit of dollar strength until we get into the next resistance above us. We'll look at where that resistance above us. That could put pressure on all pairs versus the US dollar. Or adversely, FOMC could come out. They could be really easy. No, there's no way that we're going to be looking to ease up our monetary policy anytime soon. There was a chart I wanted to share with you that I was looking at yesterday, which shows you every single time the Fed tried to tighten, the next response by the Fed had to be a massive injection of QE. The Fed knows that. They're not in any rush, nor can they. Their hands are tied. They're not looking to tighten. They're not looking to take away any monetary supply. They're looking to continue to inject more. By the way, this year in 2021, the Fed will be injecting alone $1.4 trillion of security purchases into the market. We're looking at the Fed stepping up. President Biden floated a $1.9 trillion stimulus package. That package, the day it came out, I said, oh, that's a little worrisome. The market's not going to like it when that package comes in a lot less. It's looking right now, the final numbers is being floated around 900 billion. We'll see what that is. The equity markets will be focusing on that. So where does that lead us? I'm just putting it all together. Let's see what happens later with the FOMC. Let's see how the dollar reacts. And that's what will set up our next moves. But going into that event today, we just need to be aware of that event, aware of what is possibly happening on the dollar, and just wait till later this afternoon, which maybe I will go ahead and produce an afternoon update video, totally centric on the DXY and anything that's occurring in FX. We'll see. What are we looking at over there? We have over 1,000 likes. By the way, thank you each and every one of you for doing that, for showing your support over here. I do appreciate that. That really does help support the work on this channel. I feel like this video over here, while very short in nature, duration, we've been going on average an hour and a half every morning. We've only been up here for 43 minutes. I believe it has covered everything that everyone needs to see and be aware for, be prepared for exactly what's happening right now. Why I do want to have a better, we have to wait. We have to wait to after Powell speaks today. The press conference is everything. Let's see the market reaction. Right now, you see equities under pressure. You see the dollar bid. Is the market front running something that we don't know? I expect Powell is going to be saying we need more government stimulus. We need more government stimulus. We're not even thinking right now about any type of tightening. We're going to continue to be accommodative until the economy is able to make the turn, and it hasn't yet. We could look at just for everyone's focused on GameStop over here. Let's take a look over here this morning. Oh, markets are open. Oh my goodness, Elon Musk has sent it into outer space orbit. Love seeing retail win again. Love seeing these. By the way, there is no there on the upside when you're short. There is no limit to how much money you could lose. There is no limit to how much money you could lose. If you want to keep the position, you got to keep making that margin call. Citadel bailed out with a tune of what was it? Like $2 billion? Are they going to keep dumping money into this? What's going to happen here? I don't know. Winklevoss brothers talking about taking a position yesterday at GameStop. Listen, that's all fun. That's all good. Good to see retail smarter than the old guard. Retail traders these days, well, you know why? Because they're trading with their own money. They're trading with their own money, and that's why it matters. This is beautiful to see. Nothing else. Should you get involved in this? It's gambling. If you aren't positioned in knowing what was going on over here at this point, it's just grab the popcorn, enjoy the show, but this is not where you want to go ahead and make your money, right? Because it's gambling. All right, everyone. Beautiful session. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for spending the time together. Again, I guess it's 50-50 at this point, whether or not I'll do an afternoon video update. If it's important, for sure I'm going to do that. It'll be focused on the dollar. That's what's important. It'll be focused on how that translates into FX. By the way, if you look at the Japanese yen today, if you look for risk off, right? Do you see it much? I see mildly. I don't really see any risk off in the markets. This is more of a dollar story today. It's more of a dollar story today. All right, not much to worry about. You're seeing the Russell right now down 2.5%. Right? You're seeing the S&P down 2% into this area of support. By the way, let's take a look at that. Let me just go ahead and borrow this trend line over here. Let me go ahead and borrow that trend line over there. Come down over here. We had 2 touches over here. That's pretty safe. That's pretty safe. Starting to that touchdown, that spike down into there. Again, it held. This is a pretty important trend line. This is the one we're going to be tracking. Super bullish while we're of it. Everyone wants to buy as the price is rising. Few like to buy as price comes in to test support. Don't buy the touch of support. You got to wait for a rebound off support, right? Be aware, because it is FOMC day. You could get even a spike up all the way here. Do you want to buy something that comes with that type of a wick? Careful out there. Patience is such an enormous edge. It's ridiculous. Have a beautiful day, everyone. May God bless you, and I'll talk to you later. Have a beautiful, 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 beautiful day, everyone. I tried to pull up the chart of Ethereum over there. People asking when is the best time to buy Ethereum. Of course, everyone wants to buy Ethereum as it's printing new all-time highs. It's pulled back, what? I don't know. It looks to me about 35% off the all-time high right now. I can't do the math. I don't have the chart up right now. Go ahead and look at it. It looks attractive right now. Could it go lower? Of course. Is it close to bottoming out? Probability says so. We'll soon find out. By the way, all of this DeFi, you're seeing this be the bull run of alts for DeFi. You're seeing it take place in one way or another on Ethereum. It's super important. Anyway, have a beautiful day, everyone, and I'll talk to you later.